Hi and welcome to the podcast.
The Higgledy podcast.
If you like this video, please make sure to actually like it and favorite it and subscribe and all that good stuff. We remember to say it at the beginning of the podcast rather than 3 hours in.
Yeah.
I'm Peter.
You didn't do it, I was gonna do it, so I feel like that was pretty good. We did good today.
You didn't do jack shit, I did it.
Yeah, but I was gonna do it if you didn't.
A likely story. I think
just
you're
as likely as me unmuting.
Yeah, Alex has been gaslighting me, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm Alex. Hello.
And I'm Peter. Our names are on the screen. We're not an audio podcast. We could be, but we're not.
No, we don't exactly really show much. It's just our expressions. Nobody really cares about that. Nobody likes us.
But if you do, like, favorite, subscribe, all that good shit, comment, let us know. But if you don't, still do all that stuff. We're just doing the shill bit. It's fine. If we make it a little bit fun, then it's not too bad. But if you do it all like corporate, it's boring, you know?
Yeah, unless we just carry this on for like the next 10 minutes, which could happen. Especially if we get talking about the Batman and how you should like the Batman or us as much as the Batman. Us.
You should like the Batman as much as you like the Batman, you like us, the Batman.
Yes. The Batman.
Okay.
I was going somewhere with that, and then I said the first word, and my brain just went, nope. So that's where that ended up.
Alright then. What have we got to talk about? You posted about Palworld. Tell me about Palworld.
Palworld looks incredible. If you ever played Pokemon and thought to yourself, boy, I wish there were guns in this and I could like capture Pokemon and set them in factories and juice them for all they're worth and then go out and kill their brethren, this is the game for you.
Literally never wanted any of that.
No, I don't think anyone did until they saw this game, and now I want it. So yeah, Palworld is basically like Pokemon, but a shooter. And also kind of like Ark Survival Evolved. So like, you basically go around murdering, shitting on the floor, capturing pals. That's basically what the Pokemon of this world are called. And then from the looks of it, you can like farm them, basically. You can like take them into your seedy little cellar and strap them down and start milking them for something. I'm not sure of all of the technical aspects just yet, but that's what it looked like to me.
I don't like the phrase strap it down and milk it. Don't like that.
Well, maybe you're not strapping them down and milking them, but it very much looked like that in the trailer.
And it's what Alex wants from a video game is the ability to strap something down and milk it against its will.
Okay, maybe not that aspect, but the just guns, I guess. I'm sure there are other deranged things that I'll get into instead of strapping them down and milking them.
Is it an MMO like Ark Survival Evolved, or is it single player like Pokemon?
I believe it's multiplayer. I'm pretty sure it's multiplayer.
So I will do if you get into it and all the crew get into it and we end up playing it is I'm just gonna go around and go up to people fighting and go, brother, my brother, tell me what we fighting for.
God. That's gonna never get old. I mean, that's gonna be happening a lot because we're just gonna be just shooting shit constantly. We probably won't even bother doing like I don't even know if there's any like story to it or what the goal of the game is.
Just strap things down and milk them.
Yeah, strap things down, milk them, and then execute them.
Yeah,
that's the whole story so far. But it does look a lot of fun. It is very, very dark, but it looks a lot of fun.
You sure it's not called Pokemon BDSM Simulator?
No, that comes out later this year.
Okay.
They've run out of ideas for other Pokemon games. They're releasing Scarlet and fucking whatever it is called, and then they're like, oh shit, we got to come up with something new and exciting, and that's Pokemon BDSM Sim.
Fair enough. I'm gonna not talk about Bo Burnham
Okay.
because I still haven't watched it, even though was super excited for it. It came out on an awkward day for me to watch it, so I haven't seen it yet. But Bo Burnham released Inside the Outtakes, I think it's called. And yeah, it's like more content from his year of filming. Inside was good. I imagine more is also good.
I should really watch some Bo Burnham stuff.
You should absolutely watch all three of Bo Burnham's specials that are available on Netflix.
I think I've only watched like one person's special, and that was Steve-O.
You should absolutely watch more comedian specials. Not Ricky Gervais though. Fuck Ricky Gervais. But more
Yeah, no, I
comedian
don't like
specials.
Ricky Gervais.
Um,
Yeah, I will. I'll get round to it.
You should watch James Acaster's repertoire. That's also on Netflix, which is super fucking good. It's like 4 shorter specials, like 45 minutes or so. Each one is its own completely separate special, dealing with a certain theme, but they also all interlink to make one grander thematic piece. It's really, really good. Plus, James Acaster is fucking hilarious.
Yes, he is.
He also has, and I still haven't gone around to watching it because he put it up on like Vimeo or something. But I really want to watch the full special of Cold Lasagna, Hate Myself 1999.
What the fuck?
That's his newest special, Cold Lasagna, Hate Myself 1999. I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen clips from it, including the one where he basically tells Ricky Gervais to go fuck himself. And
fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I won't talk about if Tommy was on, he would probably maybe talk about it if he's seen it already. But Tommy's not on because he has a big boy over, and Callum's not on because he's serving his son dinner.
He's serving the smaller boy dinner.
Yeah. Callum, and we'll probably talk about this on the pod, as in today. Callum and Tommy are currently staying in the same residence, so they're not on the podcast because Callum's brakes broke on his car and he is stranded.
Yep. Rest in peace, his back breaks.
I believe they're getting sorted out tomorrow, though. So.
Oh, that's good. He's not there for too long then.
Nah. Talk to me about Metal Hellsinger.
Okay, so I'm quite excited for this game. I haven't played many rhythm games. I've played like the main 2 I can think of are Beat Saber, which is just all round good fun, and Ragnarok, which is basically Beat Saber, but it's just to like rock and heavy metal, and you're just like beating drums the whole time, trying to hit like the cymbals as they come.
Is
and
that
then you can
VR
like
as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it is. It's really good. I was meaning to recommend it to you, but now I'm doing it. And then you can like smash the like drums once you've got enough charge on like the side of the screen, and like it starts like speeding up. Basically, the goal is to move your like longboat as far as possible, and by obviously hitting like the marks and using your speed ups and everything, it makes you go faster and therefore further. Some excellent music on there. Honestly, it's really great.
And also paying homage to that classic Viking saying, "Gotta go first."
Exactly. Can't believe Sonic copied that, man.
Well, Sonic's a Viking, obviously.
Oh yeah. Have you not seen his glorious beard?
Mm-hmm. But okay.
But yeah, so basically, it is a rhythm shooter, Metal Hellsinger rhythm shooter, created or at least Um, it's worked on by Serge Tankian from System of a Down. There are also like a bunch of other artists in the game. I think there is a possibility they may add more after its release. But think Doom meets Beat Saber, basically. Um, it looks awesome, honestly. It looks like a game you can just sort of get into, listen to some good music. That I think each stage is done by like a different artist, maybe.
Okay, that'd be pretty
I'm not
dope.
sure if it's like original music written for it. I would be very surprised if it wasn't, because otherwise, like, I feel like anyone could do it, and then Serge didn't really need to have his name attached to it. But yeah, it looks great fun. You can just like hop in, shoot some things to some heavy metal / rock.
So
I think it looks great.
So when you say it's a rhythm shooter, what does that actually mean, though? Does that mean like things attack you to the rhythm of a song and you have to shoot them, or you have to shoot them to the rhythm of the song? Like are the hordes of enemies more intense the more intense the music is, or what's happening there?
So from the looks of it, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but just watching some of the gameplay, like a lot of when they're shooting is on the beat.
So
So
more
I'm
points
not really
or whatever,
too
or more
sure.
effective hits if you hit on the beat. Or
Yeah, I think that might be it. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say for certain. I've only watched the trailer once, and I only did like a little bit of research, and that was pretty much just into like the artists and everything. I didn't really look much into the gameplay because I was like, oh well, it's a shooter with Serge Tankian and a bunch of other metal artists. Like, I'm in.
VR.
I'm not sure actually. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. I feel like if it isn't, or they don't at least make it into VR, they are missing a trick.
Mm.
So the Steam page says, firstly, it doesn't look to be VR.
Okay.
Metal Hellsinger is a rhythm FPS where your ability to shoot on the beat will enhance your gameplay experience. The more in sync you are with the rhythm, the more intense the music will become and the more destruction you will cause. So it sounds like the music actually changes, which is pretty cool. Oh, and also, I don't know how you'll feel about this, but it's narrated by Troy Baker.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It's just, why is Troy Baker in fucking everything?
Yeah.
I can't criticize Troy Baker for being in everything. It's not the man's fault. He getting paid. It's just like,
yeah.
Why is the industry just like not hire anyone else ever?
Yeah. Oh, every track is created specifically for the game with vocals by metal icons such as Serge Tankian, System of a Down, Matt Heafy from Trivium, Michael Stan from Dark Tranquility, Randy Blythe from Lamb of God, Alyssa White Blues from Arch Enemy, and Tatiana Schmaelyuk Ginger. I apologize if I butchered any of their names. I mean, I most definitely did. So apologies for that. But I mean, yeah, I think it sounds pretty cool. Again, it sounds like one of those games that you don't have to like think too much about. Just go in, start shooting, listen to some cool music. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't think it has a release date just yet. It just says 2022.
That's this year.
It is.
There's only 6 months left of this year.
So soon, hopefully. I will definitely be playing that.
Tight. NFT time?
Yes.
Today on the Piggledy podcast NFT section, where we talk about how fucking stupid NFTs are and NFT supporters are and people who buy NFTs. Today, we look at Seth Green. I don't know why I went with this voice for NFTs. But here we are.
I feel like we're a little bit late to this because it has been going on over the last like 2 to 3 weeks or something.
The last podcast was 3 hours. It's fine.
Yeah. But however, I don't think it's actually like the whole Seth Green situation. I don't think has come to a conclusion just yet. So we're still in date.
The story is still developing. See.
The last I heard. All right, let's just get on to it. I guess let's just start from the beginning. So,
God created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th he rested. That's the beginning.
And then Seth Green was created.
And for a while, he seemed like a pretty stand-up dude, pretty cool, pretty funny.
Seth Green has also been in just shit tons. Like,
I'm gonna stop doing the voice, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, like pretty much any animation, I swear he's in. But yeah, Seth Green. I used to love that guy. Used to think he was top class. You know, anytime he was in something, I was like, "Oh, it's Seth Green, cool." Now I'm just like, "Fuck you." Like it's just. Like, I don't want to disrespect any of the work or, you know, like write off any of the stuff he's done over the years, because regardless of his personal choices and, you know, current stupidity, he's done a lot of good stuff, right? He's like, he's really good at what he does. But he bought a bored ape. In fact, he bought a few bored apes.
Real quick, just to explain what bored apes are. Bored apes is a particular thing of NFT. So NFTs are the stupid technology where people pay cryptocurrency for a JPEG, but they don't actually own the JPEG. They own the rights to the JPEG in some code in some server somewhere. But bored apes are a particular one. I believe they're either all done by the same artist or they've all copied the same template or something. For some reason, they're the most popular. They're all just literally the same crap ape template with stuff put on, like a JPEG of a hat, a JPEG of some piercings, whatever. It's like the least creative thing possible. Yeah, there we go. That's it. You can Google. They all look the same.
I was gonna say, oh, well, I'm pretty sure it's all done by the same artist, because if it's done by different ones, then it would lose value. But considering they have no fucking value anyway, it would not surprise me if it was done by different people.
Yeah. Also, there's so many of them that I have to assume it's either done by multiple people or it's some sort of someone coded a program to just pump this shit out, which would be entirely possible, because it's the equivalent of, if you've ever played like those in-browser video games where you get to choose fashion choices for the same like 3 characters. The one I immediately think of is, I don't know if you ever used Hero Machine back in the day.
Oh.
Hero Machine was like this, like you could, like almost like a video game character creator, you could choose these different poses and different hairstyles and clothing and everything to build like superheroes and that sort of thing. And it used to be super, super cool.
The more I think about it, the more I seem to remember.
Yeah.
So maybe I did, or maybe I'd, you know, seen it and something, but
all bored apes are basically an ape looking at this sort of angle, same head shape. Occasionally they'll have a different facial expression, and then different hat, different glasses, different piercings, different tattoos, different shirts, sometimes a scarf, sometimes a jacket. But it's all like the same things are what are changing. It's never completely different. Therefore, I have to assume that if it's not one person, or it's even if it's multiple people, they're all using that base monkey as a template, or ape as a template. Maybe you can literally download the bored ape template to draw your own and then sell it as an NFT. But maybe you have to pay cryptocurrency to get that template or something.
I will say that, yeah, even though they're using the base template, perhaps speculatively, they do look different, but like still not different enough to warrant wanting one. Like it's also just an ape. It's just an ape wearing a funny hat. Like I just don't get it.
The one that you definitely have used, although I would say it's more advanced and gives you more creativity than the differences in bored apes. But Hero Machine, ultimately, no matter what character you make on Hero Machine, if you want them to have a human face, you're choosing from like one of 9 faces. right? So that's it. It's that sort of thing. But anyways, so Seth Green bought a bunch of Bored Apes. In particular, he bought one though.
And with that one, he decided, I want to make a show using this. And because technically he has the copyright, because he owns the right to the image, supposedly, he can do that. He could make a show. Except he can't because it got stolen.
Hey Alex, you know how I said
Yeah.
that it might be like just like a program that someone can put stuff into?
Yeah.
The collection features profile pictures of cartoon apes that are procedurally generated by an algorithm. It's literally, there's no person inputting anything. But they just like shove them all online. So you when you buy one, you are picking one that you like. But yeah, they are all just.
See, I could maybe possibly understand if this person wanted a bored ape, a specific bored ape. They had an idea in mind of what they wanted, and then they went to one guy and they were like, can you make me this bored ape? And then, like, I'll give you the money, you give it to me in NFT form, that means I own the right to it. I would maybe understand a little bit more if that was the case. But now that I know they're procedurally generated, what's the fucking point? I mean, this is what I was going to get on to say anyway, but I mean, why would you pay so much money for one of these fucking things when you could have literally have gone to some artist on like Etsy or something that would love to get a commission from a big person like him and just ask them to draw you?
But this is NFTs in general. This is NFTs in general. Why would you ever pay that much money for artwork that you don't even own? You just don't. And this is what we're going to get to: is you don't own it. When, as you said, if you just go and commission an artist, pay them real money, normal money, they will probably do more work for it. It will be a better result, and they will be happier.
Yeah.
Then, because in particular, there are probably some NFT artists out there who do put some time and effort into their NFTs. I'm sorry, I've yet to see a single NFT where I've gone, oh, that's actually a pretty good piece of artwork, other than people who've just converted their already existing artwork into NFTs. But Bored Ape is literally a procedurally generated by an algorithm thing owned by a giant company. You're not funding an artist, you're funding a corporation at that point. Like,
yep.
Anyways,
it's just wasting money. It's
wasting money. It's wasting energy. It's killing the planet. It's just fucking stupid all around.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, that's the same with most cryptocurrencies. But like, just from the personal standpoint of Seth Green, it just comes down to him having more money than sense, right? Because, as I said, like, just go to an artist and they can probably create something much more unique for you. And like, that's another thing I don't get is, out of everything he could have chosen, why Bored Apes? Like, it's there's so many of them now, and the fact that it is procedurally generated, it just completely takes away from the unique aspect of a character. I really don't understand it. And the fact that he thought to himself and then put in the process of seeing a Bored Ape, thinking, I'm going to pay shitloads of money for this one thing that everyone can just use online, and you know, it's procedurally generated, it's not unique in any way, I'm going to make a show out of this. Like, it's baffling to me. I cannot comprehend it. Does he think people will watch it simply because it is a Bored Ape?
Yep, I'm assuming so. And the thing is, he's right. People will watch it. Other NFT idiots will watch it. Because it's some weird cult thing where they think it's the best thing that's ever been created and they all lick each other's nuts over it.
It really, like, I'm not one really for conspiracy theories and everything. I think generally government, well, you know how my feeling on government. I think it's corrupt enough as it is to, like, then go on and come up with all these conspiracy theories about how there are, like, Illuminatis and, you know, shit like that, you know, kind of like a shadow hand that puppets the government and everything. I don't really give in to conspiracies. I think most of them are a lot of bollocks. But seeing stuff like this really does make me think there's a conspiracy out there of someone that's like brainwashing these people into thinking that NFTs are good.
It's not conspiracy theories, it's not brainwashing. I'm going to point out two corporations right now that basically have, I wouldn't necessarily say they run America, that might be a bit over the top. They do have a ridiculous amount of political clout in America, though. The NRA, we're not going to get into it because it's a shitty subject to get into, but yes, the NRA are awful, particularly given recent events, but unfortunately those recent events recur every couple of weeks, so... Yeah. And then Big Pharma. And yeah. Those two companies basically fund politicians so much that a lot of politicians just do what they say. And that means they have a lot of political control, even if they don't outright decide what is going on in America's government, they can start to push certain legislations certain ways, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think NFTs have gotten involved in politics yet. I don't think. And I hope not. But you absolutely, if you've ever seen the video of Jimmy Fallon and Paris Hilton on the Jimmy Fallon show, where they're showing up off their bored apes, and it looks like there's a gun pointed at them off camera, and it's so fucking weird and so fucking uncanny valley. I just have to assume that these people who are trying, whatever the company is behind Yuga Labs is the company that created the bored ape NFT. I have to assume that, yeah, they might have some celebrities actually buying some of their stuff, but I have to assume that they're going to these celebrities and going, here's a thing, I'm also going to pay you $500,000 to talk about it on Twitter, or talk about it on your talk show, or a podcast, or whatever, and act like you're excited about it. Because then idiots who also have more money than sense, but aren't billionaires, will also fall into it. And some of them won't necessarily have more money than sense, but they just have no sense. So they don't actually have the money to afford it, but they'll still fall for it because they're idiots. And it's unfortunately, it's a fucking scam. And so that's not a conspiracy theory at that point. That's just logic, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about like private individuals like Seth Green. I
have to assume he got given a bunch load of money to talk about NFTs, and then he actually got into it like a fucking idiot. But I would assume the beginning of it was him. Maybe. I mean,
that's what's so strange to me about it, because like if you came to me and you were like, oh yeah, we paid off Tom Cruise to start talking about NFTs, I would like, that just makes sense to me, because he's batshit off his rocker anyway with all of his like Scientology and shit. But like, or just anyone that is like really in the limelight most of the time, I can understand it. But Seth Green, yeah, he's been in a lot of things, but if you think of really big actors that will like push something, or you would want to make a show, Seth Green would not even cross my mind. And so like, to me, that just says no, he really just wanted to make a bored ape show, which to me is like, what? But
was it that someone said, if you make this, these idiots will watch it, you'll make a shitload of money? Because then it's got nothing to do with the actual bored ape, and it's just entirely a capitalistic move, right?
I mean, potentially, I suppose, yeah. But I don't know. It's so baffling to me.
We haven't actually said what happened yet, I've realised. So he bought this bored ape, planned to make a TV show. The bored ape got stolen. And what that means is that someone basically hacked the server that says who owns this NFT and changed the name.
Yeah. So the way it got stolen was someone sent him a link and he clicked it. So he fell to a fucking phishing scam.
Loads of these NFTs got stolen recently, was through this phishing scam. And so now, officially, on the record, it says that someone else owned it and always has owned it. Or maybe they bought it. I don't know what the record actually says. But basically,
I think it shows like a list of like previous owners and stuff to keep track of where it's gone, basically.
But the point is, he no longer has any legal claim to it. And because it's a new landscape, and maybe he will try and make it to a court case and change legislation. But at the moment, there's not enough legislation to say anything. So basically, there's no proof that this guy stole it because it's just a bit of code. So
I mean, that's the thing, is that cryptocurrencies and NFTs, as a result, are unregulated.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was meant to be. and the way that most people want it to stay. Now you have cases like this where people are like getting shit stolen, and they're like, but I paid for that. That is rightfully mine. I didn't give permission. And they've just stolen it, and they're like, it's unregulated, mate. You can't do fuck all about it.
Exactly. So, as I say, maybe with something more high profile like this, maybe they're going to try and take it to court, and maybe there will be legislation introduced. But at the moment, there's literally nothing he can do.
And as soon as they introduce like laws surrounding it and proper legislation, it loses what it was in the first place, which was unregulated.
But
so
also,
then it's gonna die.
Well, it's already close to dying anyways because the cryptocurrency market has like completely crashed before all this happened. So, and people have lost just ridiculous amounts of money in cryptocurrency in the past couple of months. But yeah, so his fucking show is dead in the water. Lol.
Yeah, at least until, because he basically, after he came out and said, "Oh, Ape's gone, show cancelled," he got in touch with the new owner, who was like this Australian doctor or something. And also another thing about that is because it's now in the hands of an Australian, not only would he have to try and take a court case in like and try and defend against the laws in his own country, it now crosses into international law, which makes things even messier.
Yep.
And like he messaged this bloke, and the guy basically was like, nah, I'm not giving it up. However, they are working together apparently to try and get the thief convicted, which I just think I just don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think like if they do that, they're killing their own
and the other thing is that frankly this sort of thing has happened before for years and years and years. People have been like, I remember stories about like people trying to guess what the new, I don't know, Harry Potter book was going to be, or the new Star Wars film was going to be called, and try and buy the IP address, not the IP address, what I'm talking about, the URL for those sorts of places, in the hopes that if they got it right, a company would go, well, fuck, we want that Twitter account, or we want that URL for our website. Fine, well, how much do you want for it, sort of thing. And they've done that before. Like, companies have had to pay tens of thousands of dollars because some fuckhead has managed to guess what the thing was going to be called. Or sometimes it's just like a lapse in contract. Like, there have been examples where people have bought the rights to a URL because the company forgot to renew the contract for that URL, and someone went, "Oh, nice, I'll buy that real quick." So, and it's not a dissimilar sort of scam in that sense. And yeah, people haven't won court cases. The companies haven't won court cases against these people because what they're doing is perfectly legal. I guess the only argument you could make is that maybe phishing is more of a scam than that, but still, it's unregulated currently.
I am the first person to say that, like, you know, telephone scammers and stuff, you know, are just scum.
Yeah, any
like if you do that sort of thing, you're scum. However, the fact that he's taking advantage, or that dude took advantage of someone that big over an NFT, I think is funny. I still don't agree with it, but like, it's funny.
Here's the thing. Do you agree with someone potentially murdering just a bunch of people with a gun?
No.
Okay, but what if his family had been murdered in Central Park and all the people he's killing are like awful criminals?
Yes.
So I'm not sure I agree with you, but also, I mean, whatever. Like, just do your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I am against all violence unless it's in The Punisher or any other show that has violence in, because it's fun to watch, not necessarily fun to take part in or actually witness in real life.
For a while, you've had three types of hackers. You've had black hat hackers, grey hat hackers, and white hat hackers. Memory serves, and it is hazy. Black hat is like just the bastards. White hat is doing it for like law enforcement or whatever, and grey is basically like vigilante hacking. So like anonymous would be grey hat hacking. They hacked things like they hacked lots of Russian websites and just DDoSed them when Russia started invading Ukraine. Like, that's people doing good, but they're not doing it lawfully or anything, so they're still, like, criminals, right? I guess we now have grey hat scam artists? Like, because, yeah, scammers are awful, but I kind of don't hold anything against this guy.
No, I mean, he's abusing a stupid system. I mean, like, yeah, sure, he probably made a fat profit off of it, you know, so it was done for selfish reasons, but at the same time, like,
Teach them a lesson.
yeah, like, it's just such a stupid thing, you know, like.
And what he did didn't help kill the planet. Or help launder money. Because he just did it completely outside the system. So whatever. He did, in my opinion, he did something less morally wrong than the people spending fucking cryptocurrency on JPEGs of a monkey.
I mean, realistically, what he did was the equivalent of, like, going up to someone's house with an empty, like, with a contract with an empty tick box and saying, oh, tick here. And then the person ticks and they're like, right, I own your house. Like,
but,
you know, like,
but,
that's basically what it was.
It would be the equivalent of doing that to a billionaire and doing it with their mansion, which I would not feel bad about that happening at all. And also, remains to be seen, I imagine that this person's not going to somehow be able to turn this NFT into, like, homes for the homeless. But if someone did that scenario with a billionaire's mansion and then just said, hey, any homeless in the area can come live here rent-free forever, I'd be like, you haven't just done something morally ambiguous, you've done something morally correct. Well done.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so stupid.
Can we do that to
really,
the Queen?
The whole thing. I would love to do that.
Just evict her from Buckingham Palace and then give it to the homeless. I would love to.
Do it to all of her palaces, and she's like, "Oh no, where am I going to stay?" And you're like, "Oh well, there's a new homeless shelter that's just opened up."
Okay, no, I will say it's a little bit morally dubious to do that to the Queen. She is old and might not have all of her mental faculties anymore. When she dies. Next in line, absolutely morally correct to do that.
Yeah,
I think scamming an elderly lady or an elderly man, even if they're a billionaire, is a little bit morally questionable. But yeah.
Well, we're not going to be doing it, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. And if you watch this and you have that idea and you go through with it, we did not endorse it, but also.
But we will watch. We will watch,
and we will comment on it.
Smiles on our faces.
Yes, and we will make a video about it, but we won't condone it. Also,
so yeah, now he doesn't have a show.
Also, I was just looking up 2 days ago. Someone hacked the official Bored Ape Yacht Club Discord account and stole another 2,000 Ethereum worth of NFTs. I don't know what Ethereum translates to these days, but 200,000, sorry, not 2,000. No, 200 Ethereum. No 1,000 in there whatsoever. Don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Oh.
But yeah, so there's been more hacks and more stolen NFTs.
That's probably a lot, I'd say. Like, no, like if it was like to the pound, it just wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be worth it. So it's probably like
one Ethereum,
100,000.
Sorry, 1,000 Ethereum is currently going for $2.7 million. So 1/5 of that is about
500,000, just over 500,000.
Yeah, about 500,000. Just over 500,000.
Yeah,
give or take.
Fuck.
Yeah. Good work.
Yeah. Right. Well, while we're on stupid systems, I would just like to talk a little bit about Diablo Immortal.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've seen anything about it, Pete, because I know you don't really follow many Blizzard games or anything. But there has been a massive hubbub about Diablo Immortal recently, because of microtransactions. Same like story, different game, basically. They a while back, I think it's the lead designer or something. I can't remember exactly what he is to the game. Wyatt something or other, but I'm pretty sure he was the guy that said the infamous line, "What don't you have phones?" or something like that. When people were upset because they were hoping for Diablo 4 and then they announced a phone game instead.
Is this an out of season April Fool's joke?
Yep, from that. So he said on like Reddit or something a while ago that the facts posted about the game around that time were bullshit and he can disprove them. And he said that there was absolutely no need to pay money or no service in the game that allows you to pay money to acquire or upgrade gear. Those were his words. Acquire or upgrade gear. Well, in Diablo Immortal, if you want to be able to like level up and, you know, actually be decent, although I'm still yet to see that. I have been playing the game, and in all honesty, it's a fun game. It's Diablo. I like Diablo. It's a fun game to play. I probably haven't got to the point yet though where I need to spend fuck tons of money to actually start advancing. So I can't really say anything about that. I haven't needed really to buy anything so far. And like I've bought a couple of like very small packs for like £1 each, but that's because I'm just trash.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have no filter.
Yeah, exactly. Like I especially when it comes to phone games, like I've spent so much money on them, and that's just out of my own idiocy and addiction. However, they haven't really helped me out that much. It's just been like small little couple gems that are going to get replaced anyway. So yeah, I haven't really needed to buy anything. I just wanted to. But at some point, apparently, you do need to spend a lot of money to actually start advancing. And the way that you do that is through buying stuff that basically gives you like crests to put in the challenge rift or the elder rift, sorry, to basically get more legendary gems at the end of it, or just buying packs that give you gems straight up. Now, Wyatt's defense to this was, we did say gear, not gems. We should have been more clear. So not apologies for, you know, actually making the system that requires you to buy a fuck ton of things to get gems to be able to level your gear up. Just, oh, we did say gear, not gems, so we're good. And a lot of people aren't happy with that, funnily enough. And like everyone is basically saying that it's like completely immoral, Diablo immoral, and stuff like that. And like this, I think this is going to be big. I think it's going to get big because so many people are talking about it, and like it's, especially after everything that Blizzard have done over the last couple of years, this is a massive insult to all of their fans, I think. Even though I've not reached that point yet, I still think it's disgusting that, you know, it does get to that point. You know, they should basically be trying to win their fans over, not just, you know, taking their money instantly from them. Again, it's another baffling thing to me.
It's not a baffling thing to me. It's another Battlefront 2 thing to me. See, it's like baffling.
Like I know why. Yeah. God. But like I know why they're doing it, obviously, because they want fucking money. Like it is just pure capitalism, and they know that, you know, the whales out there will give it to them, including me, because I'm a fucking idiot. But like, for everyone else that doesn't want to do that or can't do that, it's disgusting. I completely agree. And maybe, you know, I'm not helping the matter by giving them money, but at the end of the day, you can suffer through it. Like, there is absolutely no reason for you to buy anything unless you want to, you know, actually advance quicker. I like, from what I've seen, you still can just suffer through the process.
I
Sure,
think
it's going to be shit, but like,
the tough thing is, and obviously the potential issue there is with him lying on Reddit, because he did lie. That wasn't a lack
yeah,
of clarity, that was
totally.
lying. But ultimately, pretty much every single mobile game I've ever played that isn't stuffed full of ads has worked that way. Of you reach a progression plateau, and then you can either just grind, or you can spend money. I play a
Or
lot
just
of,
stop playing the game.
yeah, I play a lot of Marvel Strike Force. And I've reached my level cap now, but I still haven't beaten all the campaigns. And to be able to beat all the campaigns, you need to be such a high level with certain teams that you need to level up their gear. And to do that, you reach a point where you can either just do the same 10 missions every day, just auto win, and hope that the random chance that you get the gear you need happens, or you can open orbs with various resources and hope you get the random drop. Or every single time you go and go, how can I find this particular bit of gear? It goes, or you could pay £7.99 to get 50 of these and 50 of some various other gear types. So obviously it's the same thing. It wants you to spend real money to progress quickly, but, and obviously not everyone has the willpower to do that, but for me, I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit because I'm not going to do that. And if I don't progress for weeks, whatever, I'll just do my dailies, have fun when I just do an insane amount of damage to a real person in real-time arena, and move on with my day. I think the difference is that this guy lied, because as I say, every single mobile game basically is like that. Every single mobile game shouldn't be like that, and it is a completely moral dilemma, because the other problem is so many parents set up their kids on a mobile phone quite a lot of the time so that the kids can like buy an app or whatever. The parents might log into Google Play on that kid's phone and buy them Minecraft or whatever, and then don't think about it. They've just saved their payment details. There have been, various horror stories of parents finding out that they've been billed like £200 on their credit card from the 6-year-old or whatever. And,
Worse.
or worse. And, obviously, parents should be more conscious about how these things work and be more cautious with these sorts of things. Obviously, there are going to be some parents who are older, but for a lot of people who are being parents at the moment, they should be fully aware of how these sorts of things work and, should be making sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen. But mistakes happen, oversights happen, whatever, and it is ultimately predatory, right?
I mean, I think it's kind of an oversight to say, young people, because obviously this is a trend very much in the gaming community. Like, I think
Yeah,
a lot of people that don't particularly play games very often, if they, regardless of if they're young or not, they probably won't know too much about it, or just won't really think about it too much, because they're just like, oh well, they're only buying one thing, it's not
Yeah.
like it's gonna push all this shit onto them all the time, but it does. And if they don't know that, I can see why they would quite easily get caught out by it.
No, that's completely fair. I think I was just thinking about, like, in general, like saving your payment details somewhere is something that young people are used to, and therefore they would maybe say no on their kid's mobile phone. But no, completely fair. If you're not familiar with video games particularly, then yeah, why would you assume that the innocent kids game that your 6-year-old's playing would constantly push adverts on them to pay money? But yeah, as I say, I think the Blizzard situation is one thing, but ultimately mobile games in general, and lots of big companies like Blizzard make mobile games and allow people to make games with the IP. I mean, I can't remember who makes Marvel Strike Force, but it's ultimately, allowed and probably funded a little bit by Disney, or not funded by Disney. Maybe it's the other way around, and this company pays Disney for the rights, but whatever. Disney are allowing that to be against their brand, and just totally fine with those predatory practices. So yeah, it's a bigger problem than all that. I think it's a problem with mobile gaming in general.
And I think another thing that makes it worse for a game like Diablo is because at least to my knowledge, I can't say this with 100% certainty, so just take this with a grain of salt. Once you've completed the main story, all that's really left is to keep grinding, going up the prestige levels, and basically running rifts and challenge rifts and stuff like that over and over again. So there isn't really anything to work towards. So when you're spending money on that game, you're basically spending it on advancing to nothing. Now, with something like Strike Force, I can kind of understand because, they do make a lot of missions and stuff that require you to have certain teams, and therefore, if you spend money on the game, you're more likely to get those teams so you can then complete the extra story things. And also, it is constantly pumping out story updates and new missions and what have you. So, like, you're at least paying to be able to do something. With Diablo, I feel like you don't have that goal. So, what's the point, basically? Like, that's also another reason why I'm just like, I totally agree it's disgusting. However, if you are then going to decide to spend money on advancing to nothing, that's kind of your issue. Like, for me, it's like once I finish a story, I probably won't really touch it again because I'm not just going to keep grinding riffs for better gear to do more riffs. It's just a cycle that I just don't really care about. I mean, if that's your thing, then go ahead. But like,
then you're getting into the whole conversation of games as service, which seems to be the big trend these days. And I don't want to play a video game as an obligation ever. I just don't. Like, I want to. Most of the games that I want to play are story driven, and I want to play a story and then be done with it. But that seems to be the trend that companies like Ubisoft and EA and such like seem to be really into, is the idea that no, you never stop playing our game. You install it once and you play it for 6 years until we release a sequel.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that's bad as long as the new story content is actually like good and you actually want to play it, because at that point you still can just turn it off. Like as long as you don't have to.
To a point, but I think the problem with games as service is that most of the updates that are supposedly worthwhile you staying and playing the game are actually not worthy of your time. They're usually time consuming, spread out a long way with a lot of progression needed, but they are not worth your time. But people like Tommy, they like playing games, and Final Fantasy's not an example of this, but like MMOs are close, I think, to games as service. I think most MMOs that I've come across don't fall into that category, but they're close to that edge. And ultimately, I hate the idea of someone going, boom, here's a bunch of content, you're going to have to spend 30 hours grinding to it for 6 hours of content. Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I must have just like mistook what you said, but yeah, I meant more just like DLC. If like a game comes out and they just add DLC with new story content and everything, and you don't need to grind for it, it's literally you just jump straight in, you play the story. If
this
they
is
keep
the thing
adding
with
stuff like that,
most MMOs will drop a new content like that, where like, the level cap to play this story stuff is like level 60, and they'll go, and also here's a free upgrade to level 60 if you just want to play it immediately. Like, that's pretty normal for most MMOs, at least for subscribers.
And I don't really mind that.
No,
like
neither do I.
Because it gets you into the game. Like a lot of people have issues with it because, and especially when you can buy character boosts, it's like they say, oh, but you're just skipping the game, and it's just for casual players. There's a lot of that goes on in MMOs. It seems like there's just a massive conflict between casual players and hardcore players, and you can't win. You can't win with them because you'd have to make basically two separate games.
This is a dichotomy I'll never understand, though, because the argument I always have is, if you are a hardcore player, the existence of casual players in no way detracts from the fact that you're a hardcore player.
No,
in no way.
It's
Like,
as simple as don't buy it.
the only scenario I can think of, and it's literally the only scenario, is a game like Destiny 2 where they celebrate the person who beats their raid first. And they quite often will go, oh, you beat the raid first out of everyone in the entire world. We're going to send you a care package of like some hoodies and some stuff. Like, that's a thing that Bungie's done before with Destiny 2, right? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Some hardcore players might object if someone who's played the game for 2 weeks managed to somehow pull that shit out of their ass. They would be like, that's kind of shitty. And I would get that. But that's like the only niche scenario, is some scenario like that.
But even then, like, what's so bad about that? They played the game as much, if any more, than the usual hardcore players. Like, it still wouldn't. I still don't think it should matter. And
the example then, to give that a bit of a more kind of normal world, although it's not normal at all, but normal world scenario would be, imagine you had trained for 7 years to go to the Olympics, finally got in, and some fucker who's just like really naturally talented, just like fucking insanely fast for some fucking reason, never trained a day in their life, just rocks up to the Olympics and wins gold. You'd be like, oh, that's kind of sucks.
yeah, like I guess, but you know, I think that in a video game, in that scenario, hypothetically, I think it's very different, because realistically, there is no difference between casual and hardcore players, other than hardcore players play the game more.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily they're more skilled at it or anything like that.
They grind
It is
more.
the fact that they grind and they have time.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. And like, they don't spend any time on any of the games. That's all it is.
And the thing is, I am fine with some games having a natural hardcore versus casual element to it, in the sense of, you've got games like EVE Online, where I don't know for certain, because I've never played EVE Online. I've not done enough. I'm not mentally prepared enough for EVE Online ever. But theoretically, I love the concept of it. I imagine you can't be an insanely powerful crime lord with like an empire if you play it once a week. Or maybe you can once you get to that point, because then things run themselves.
Years later.
But you probably do have to hardcore game and make that like your second life almost to get to that point. And I'm fine with the fact that a casual game is probably never going to get to that point in a game like that, but that is basically a always role-playing sort of game. So there's a difference there.
But I mean, that's one of the main things with WoW, especially, that I've found, is it's not really anything to do with, you know, actual microtransactions or, you know, paying for a character boost or whatever. It's actually inbuilt into the game that it is more for hardcore players than casuals, because, and obviously, like, the hardcore players are just like, yeah, we fucking love this. But as a casual player myself, most of the time, like, if I advance somewhat into the storyline, and then in order to get to the next bit, I need to wait a day, like for a cooldown or something, or, you know, whatever. But that's the only thing I really want to do in the game. I can't do anything. Like, it's either that or just go and grind a bunch of shit that I don't really want to do. And that's the problem I had with it, is they just start like time gating all these different things, or, you know, level capping it. So, you know, in order to, you can't just bash out level 40 of like a reputation grind in one day. You know, like, you have to do a couple of missions, and then you have to wait for something to build for like a day or two, and then you come back and then you do that. And like, okay, people argue that it's to space the content out so that you don't just do it all in one go. But what if I want to? What if that is the game I want to play on that day, and that is the thing that I want to be doing on that game? I can't. And that sucks. That really sucks as a casual player, because a lot of the hardcore ones, you know, they will just go off and start grinding whatever else, because they have loads of things they want to do. But for casuals, it's not that simple. And sure, like, you can just turn the game off, which I would just do, because I'm like, well, there's nothing for me to do. and then I
it's the
slowly just
equivalent
lose
of
interest.
But it's the equivalent of going, I want to play this game today, and then it not working because of some technical issue. It just sucks. Like, you were in the mood to play that game. You kind of, particularly, I'm sure everyone has this experience. You'll be like working during the week, and you'll be like, oh, I can't wait till the weekend where I'm gonna fucking play this game. I've been looking forward. I haven't had time all week, but I'm fucking looking forward to the Saturday when I'm gonna fucking. And then you get to it, and you're like, oh, I can't. You know, it sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks. And
It
you
does,
can
it really
go play
does.
something else. Like, in this day and age, you've got just an enormous library of stuff that you can play, but you wanted to play that thing, and you got in the mood for that thing. So, yeah, I get it.
And, like, that shit pisses me off more than, you know, wanting a level boost to just be able to jump into content, you know? And that's the thing that hardcore players are more likely to complain about, which just is so totally stupid to me, because they don't have to buy it. If they have grinded or want to grind up to that point themselves and then go into it, that's fine. You don't have to buy a level boost. But some people don't have enough time, and then they just want to jump straight into new content. What is the problem with that? Same with the, like, I think a lot of, I feel like Diablo especially is good to take heat off of things like World of Warcraft, because obviously World of Warcraft over the years has got a lot of hate for the microtransactions and stuff, but it's mainly just character boosts or like mounts, you know, or like armor, you know, cosmetics. Again, nothing you need to buy to be able to actually play the game. I think they are decent microtransactions, because it enhances the game for people that can't, you know, just be bothered to grind constantly, or just add something extra into the game that people might want. Like, it doesn't change the game for anyone else, so what is the problem with it? And then you look at something like Diablo and you're like, okay, I can see why that would piss people off, because it actually hinders their progression if they don't do it.
Yeah, that's the difference, right? Is intent, and ultimately, I'll be crystal clear and say I think I don't like any microtransaction. I don't like, even in Swaffle, going, oh, that's a really cool set of Mandalorian armor, I'm going to buy that with real money. Just let me buy it with in-game currency. Like, you could just do that. And the reason why they don't is because they want me to pay money for it, right, so they can get extra money. And I'll accept it. If I really, really want it, I might pay with real money, but ultimately I don't like that. But at the very least with that, it's not the game. I guess the game is in a way designed to have the worst outfits be the ones that you can just get with in-game currency. But
I mean, yeah, true.
But like, when you design your game to kind of force people into spending real money, that's when it's shitty.
Yeah, I think now that you've said it, I didn't really think about that actually, but I do agree that, you know, if like good looking armor or, you know, mounts or something are behind just a straight up paywall and you can't just get it, you know, for free in game by playing. Yeah, I can see why that would suck for some people, especially if they can't afford it and they're, you know, they've really got their heart set on it or something. That can suck. But at the end of the day, it is just a few pixels on a screen.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the biggest problem with microtransactions in general.
And NFTs in general.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's all related. It's all shit.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Yep.
Speaking of poetry, did you watch the Gotham Knights trailer?
I didn't, because I could not bring myself to watch it. I genuinely kept meaning to, and I kept looking at it and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking hate this. I know it.
Okay, to be clear, we're talking about the CW's Gotham Knights trailer, not Warner Brothers Montreal. It is the most CW that CW has ever CW'd. It is genuinely one of the worst TV trailers that I've ever seen, probably specifically because I'm offended by it. Like, there's, you know, I've probably seen trailers for things like Love Island and just gone, that looks like shit, but I'm not offended by its existence. This is an offense to my eyes and my ears. My favorite bit, though, is that you do see Batman is dead. That's the premise to this trailer. Batman is dead, and like 4 or 5 characters have been blamed for his death, and then they have to escape the police and prove their innocence by working together or some shit. But you briefly see Batman's corpse, and it's straight up just a guy wearing like a Amazon Batman cowl and a suit, and not a bat suit, a suit like Bruce Wayne would wear. And look, maybe there's going to be some story reveal where someone worked out that Batman was Bruce Wayne, killed him when he was in his Bruce Wayne guise, and then put the Batman mask on him. But still, it looks awful, it looks cheap, looks like they couldn't be fucked. It's just bad. It's just bad.
I'm just watching a little bit of it now, and yeah, I'm not impressed by what I'm seeing. It just...
I just really wish that sometimes YouTube would re-enable the dislike bar for certain videos, particularly if it's corporations videos. Like, fine, remove it off of like individuals' YouTube channels, but can you put the dislike bar back on for companies like Warner Brothers or Jimmy Fallon or whatever, like these big no one gives a shit. No one's feelings are going to be hurt by that. I mean, some people's feelings, but you know what I mean. I would love to see how many people are disliking that video, because I imagine it's probably the most disliked video of 2022 so far. Like, or at least in the top 10 or something. It's just fucking abysmal.
I am curious if it's set in the Arrowverse.
I don't believe it is.
I don't think it is, because obviously we've seen stuff in the Arrowverse already that kind of, I imagine, contradicts the show. But like, it just... the concept is just so bad. Like, I mean, it could be really good. It could end up being incredible. No,
it couldn't.
I'm so very, very skeptical of it, and I'm not going to watch it. I'll say now, I'm not going to watch it. There's no point. I know I'm not going to enjoy it. Like, and it's so strange, because there are people defending the show, and you know, if this is your type of thing and you don't really care about the comics or anything, then that's fine, you know, enjoy it.
No. If this isn't your sort of thing and you don't care about the comics and you just like trash, sort yourself out and watch some good TV. There is no excuse to just like trash. I'm sorry, there's not. Like, there's different scales of trash. You might enjoy something, but there's so much content out there. Why are you wasting your time watching Gotham Knights when you could watch The Flash, which is marginally better? Or
just read the comics. Just say fuck it and just read the comics. Like,
but again, you might not care about comics. You might just like melodrama, but there is going to be better melodrama out there than this.
All right, then watch Riverdale or something. Like,
I'm not sure whether Riverdale is going to be better than this.
Oh, well, I think they're pretty much all equally as terrible, really.
No. This might be on par with Riverdale, but Riverdale's a special kind of bad. Have I not told you about the highs and lows, the epic highs and lows of the high school football line?
Yeah. Drug running for his nan or something.
I was in prison for however many years because I was drug running for my nana. That means you don't know the epic highs and lows of high school football.
Yeah, okay. That is.
But this might be on
bad.
par with it, and it might be worse than it.
Maybe.
But I don't think it's going to be better than it.
No. But anyway, so I've seen a lot of people defending the show, and there was this one comment I saw on a video in particular that said, I don't understand why this show's getting so much hate. I'm pretty sure people are just upset because they've not seen the costumes yet or something. And I thought that was the most ridiculous statement to make. And he followed it up by saying something like, oh, you know, could be really good. I just don't understand, like, why people have, you know, such hate boner on for this, basically. And I thought, I'll take a crack at explaining, not from like a point of malice or anything. Literally, like, I just wanted to just have my take on it from what I've seen from comments and stuff so far, and what I also think. So I basically said, there are a lot of fans out there that would still like to see a Bat Family type show where you actually get to see the characters that we know and love from the comics or other pieces of media that have done the characters well. So, you know, because they have so many great characters, right? They have, you know, Damian Wayne that just hasn't been done at all, pretty much. Got Barbara Gordon, Batgirl pre-wheelchair, because we haven't really seen that, although we will be getting that in a film later on, so who knows, that could be okay. But we see a lot of her in a wheelchair just not really doing anything. So it's like, all right, well, just give her time to shine in the suit then, you know? Like, and then maybe have her get wheelchair bound and then transform her into Oracle. You have Tim Drake, who hasn't really been done very well before, if at all, except maybe in Titans, but again, that's Titans. You know, we want a very intelligent Tim Drake. Or maybe even...
I know it's maybe not what you were talking about, but I will just quickly give credit to the Arkham games, which are like mainstream Batman. They did Tim Drake pretty good.
That's what I mean. Like, that's the type of one that we want to see in, like, on screen, basically. Like, when I say, you know, in comics and other media that the characters done well, I include like the Arkham games and stuff, you know, or the animated films, because they always fucking knock it out of the park, pretty much, except Dark Knight Returns, but that's because...
and Killing Joke.
Yeah, and the Killing Joke, because yeah, please don't
best
give
version
us...
of Batgirl ever. They
please.
They confirmed
Please
that Michael Keaton's coming back for the Batgirl movie. Maybe we're gonna get that scene.
Oh no, I don't want to see that, or even have it implied.
I genuinely, I'm not sure Warner Brothers could recover from the backlash if they did that in live action.
No way. I think that would just ruin Michael Keaton's career as well from that point on. But
however,
yeah,
if you're an artist and you want to do some fan art, I'll be amused by it.
No, please no. I just don't want to see it or think about it.
I want to see and think about it just so I can send it to Alex and make him see and think about it.
No, don't do it. But yeah, or, you know, hell, maybe even give us a Dick Grayson that isn't just a straight up asshole. You know, like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, he needs quite a lot of cheeks as well.
Yeah, all round almost better than Batman Dick Grayson. That's what I'd like to see. And so you've got these
particularly the all round bit, like.
Yeah, we want him
because
as
Dick
a
Grayson
bull.
has a nice butt. Have you heard, by the way, that people have actually criticised Dick Grayson's butt in the Gotham Knights game? They've said that they need to, that Warner Bros. Montreal need to go and fix the model because he's not got a fat enough dumpy.
I mean, true.
It's not comic accurate if it's not, so
that's a valid criticism.
Yeah. Anyways.
But you know, you've got these great characters that we haven't really seen with like very comic book like interpretations on screen yet, and you know, as I said, they are pretty much all straight up assholes or murderers in most TV shows or, you know, films or whatever. And like, it's their answer, CW's answer to that was basically to not have this cast of characters with, you know, their comic book personalities, or, you know, they aren't morally dubious. Their answer to that is to ignore Batman's adopted family from every other bit of media, create an entirely new original character to serve as his adopted son for some fucking reason, and stick him in with a bunch of Z-list characters from media that nobody really knows or cares about.
In CW's defense, I don't know why I just said that sentence, but in CW's defense, I'm under the understanding that Warner Bros. Basically doesn't let them do anything Batman related. And that probably extends to most of Batman's...
So just don't do it.
Well, that was going to be my point. That probably extends to most of Batman's extended family, but then why are Warner Brothers letting them do anything then at that point? Like, just say, no, you can't make a show called Gotham Knights. Like, why are they greenlighting that when it's, like, you know, fair enough, you can't have him show up in Arrow and Flash or whatever, but like, yeah.
But that's the thing, they did have Batman show up.
Yeah, but that was for one special event.
All right, but like still, like
they also had Ezra Miller show up as the Flash in that event, and
yeah,
it was great. He came through a time gate with like 4 Hawaiians' heads decapitated on his belt. It was
See, I would
darker
say
take on the Flash.
I would say just give them the rights or just don't let them do it. But
just don't.
The first one is not a good. Yeah, the first option just isn't good either.
The only scenario where I want to see CW touch Batman. So basically, what I would say is CW shouldn't be allowed to touch Batman at all, in no way, shape, or form. Frankly, to be honest with you, at this point, other than Superman and Lois, CW shouldn't be allowed to make superhero content.
I agree.
But Superman and Lois, again, as I have heard, fucking great. Like, people genuinely seem to think it's the best version of Superman on screen since Christopher Reeve. Like, that's the level of praise that this show gets. If they wanted to have a Batman show up in that for like a couple of episodes, I'd be fine with it, because they probably do it well. If they can do Superman well. So,
I mean, it is so confusing to me how they can have like 10 shows, and out of all of those 10 shows, only one of them has competent writers. Like, who are they hiring to do these things? And why are they
the same person
okaying their ideas?
The same person who said to Seth Green, "Let's make a Bored Ape TV show."
It must be, because it's ridiculous. I just don't understand how anyone in that industry could view their idea for this TV show and say, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, a lot of fans would be pleased with that. Like, it is so confusing to me. And like, in my comment, I said, you know, it could very well be good, but apart from Superman and Lois, their track record hasn't been great. And
Arrow
some people
season 1
may
and season 2 were pretty fucking, and season 5 was pretty.
Well, the first couple of seasons of The Flash were pretty good, but they soon went fucking downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, most of the shows did. It just got worse and worse over time because they started implementing shit that nobody cared about. And like this Gotham Knights, it could be good. And as I said, the track record hasn't been good. And also, people can argue, oh, well, they're just trying something new. Maybe by not touching the other characters, they can't fuck them up, but they can build new ones. New doesn't mean better.
Okay, I will play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Just a tiny bit. Harley Quinn was created for Batman the Animated Series. That's I rest my case.
The only one that was created for this series was Turner Hayes, and he's basically going to be a Dick Grayson ripoff, I'm assuming.
We don't know that. He might be...
Oh no, he was at a party, so he's more likely going to be like a Jason, but more laid back ripoff. Because he also just pins someone up again. Yeah.
We don't know that.
We don't know. It's going to be bad, though. I do know that.
You've been saying this whole time it could be good.
No, I've changed my mind.
Anyways, the final thing I'll say on it is that I liked a comment I saw on the trailer, which was, this does give me faith whenever I think that I'm doing shit in film studies that I do have hope.
Yeah.
And as an ex-film studies student, I related to that comment.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple of films like that. Like, one of the biggest ones for me that kind of made me realize, like, if I ever did really want to get into filmmaking, like properly, rather than just having ideas and then never doing anything with them, like The Room. The Room is just so good to look at that and be like, damn, that movie is so fucking trash, but like, it's like, you can't fault Tommy Wiseau. He put the work in, like no matter how trash it was, he did it. He put the work in, and now it's become a cult classic for how bad it is. Like no matter how bad you think you can be, it's gonna be better than The Room. And if it doesn't make it worse, then you'll probably get big anyway.
Here is the thing, and I'll be clear. I say this does not excuse Gotham Knights, because Gotham Knights looks like shit, but it probably mostly looks like shit because of decisions made by people in suits in a boardroom, not any creative's decision, would be my assumption. But credit where credit's due, if you come up with a concept and you pre-produce it, you enter into production, you film it all, and then you get it into post-production, and you get it through the edit, and you get it to release, you deserve at least a little bit of respect for going through all of that and actually delivering. Might be shit, but you, like, that in itself is fucking hard to do. So even if it's shit, you know, hats off to you a little bit. But not hats off to the suits in the boardroom who made those decisions to make the show in the first place.
It does make me wonder if shows these days actually use focus groups or not. Because who are in those focus groups?
See, the thing is, I have to assume that they do.
You're not hiring the right people.
I have to assume they do because movies use focus groups so much, and TV is such a big business as well. But at the same time, Robert Eggers, who did The Northman, I read an interview with him about focus groups and screen tests, and he said, you know, the thing is with them is that they're actually a fucking waste of time because they get about 200 people for a big movie. 200 people. Any statistician can tell you that 200 people is not a big enough source pool to get any useful data out of, basically. It's too small a group to get useful data out of. And when they're grabbing these people to be this screen test group, they're sometimes fucking idiots. And the case he used, which I won't say. Oh no, I will say because it's a vague line in The Northman. Is one of the comments he got from the screen test in The Northman was, at one point the main character, Emleth, I think his name was right, Emleth.
Emleth, yeah.
Emleth says, "I will drown him in a river of fire," and then he doesn't die from being drowned in a river of fire. He dies some other way, and the audience member was confused by this and said that they should change the way the character died because it was misleading. That's the sort of feedback that they sometimes get in these focus groups. Is someone not understanding what a fucking metaphor is.
Yeah, okay, that is pretty bad.
And that's probably a straw poll of one, but again, if you get a group of 200 people and enough of them are imbeciles, because the thing is as well is that a lot of these focus groups are basically like someone standing in a shopping center and going, "You sir, would you like to be in a focus group?" And then their 8 mates are like, "Yeah, we'd love to be in a focus group." So then you've got 8 of your 200 people being the same like cluster of potentially imbeciles. And funnily enough, there's an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they get focus group to review a movie, and it's the bar group, and they're fucking imbeciles, and you're like, yeah. You know. So, you know, it could just be that focus groups are not that useful.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like for something like a comic book property, there are enough fans out there, and like I'd say that along with, you know, I guess it's fandom.
But what if the person sent to get the focus group is like, I don't know, at fucking Build-A-Bear rather than a comic store? Like,
well, that's the thing. I think they like. With any fandom, if they want to know if it's good, hire fans, because, like,
to an extent, there should be some fans in there, but also fans make bad decisions. Because look at any like fans rewrite of The Last Jedi, and you're like, I don't think that would have been any better. If anything, I think that would have been categorically worse. But you can still dislike The Last Jedi if you want.
No, I agree, but like, you should at least get some fans in there that will at least tell you these aren't the characters that fans like, you know, because especially with a lot of fandoms, except maybe the Snyderverse and the Snyder apologists, like most people will have the same gripes, or at least the same base hatred for like a lot of the shit they pull with characters. You know, like, all you really need to look at is the fuck Batman trailer. Look how many people fucking hated that. Like,
I don't know, it's a legendary line, though.
I mean, it's legendary for how stupid it is, sure, but, like, you know, there are moments like that where most fans will come together and be like, that is shit. And that's what you should listen to. If they are stupid with the metaphors, just ignore that part. But if they come to you and they're like, this is nothing like in the comics, these characters are totally different, like, it's absolute dog shit, you should probably listen to that advice.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it looks bad.
Indeed.
I don't think we talked about Batman for that long. I think we,
No?
we managed to talk about something Batman adjacent without spending like 40 minutes on it. Well at us. Spider-Man Remastered, to be clear, the game that was originally nicknamed Spider-Man PS4. I guess that name has since outgrown because it's been released on PS5, is about to be released on PC on August 12th. I'm going to be honest, I might pick it up down the road if there's some like funky looking mods, but I've got it on PS4. I've played through it twice and played through Miles Morales now. Like, I don't need to own it on a different platform. But that's fucking cool. It's a fucking great game. Yeah, that's cool to see another PlayStation exclusive come to PC. And as I said, there's probably going to be some cool mods, maybe like a bigger New York map, maybe some new suits modded in, that sort of thing. I have already seen people theorize some of the awful mods that are going to be introduced, like Spider-Man in his underwear all the time during cutscenes. People will probably mod it to have the original face back in, that sort of thing. But yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same as you. Played Miles Morales and first Spider-Man on PS4/PS5. I probably won't play it through again, but as you said, unless there are any really fucking crazy mods. But
yeah, if there are crazy mods and it's on sale one day, I might pick it up on PC. But
yeah, I mean, I don't trust my PC to be able to run it, honestly, at least very well. So,
but yeah, I think the bottom line is, if you haven't played it and you have a PC, August 12th, it's a fucking great game.
Read, definitely play it. And if they release, yeah, and if they release Miles Morales later on down the line, play that too.
I believe the remastered means it will include Miles Morales. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe Spider-Man Remastered, as released on PS5, included Miles Morales, I want to say. So if that's the case, then that will be the same for PC.
Oh, then sweet, yeah.
But I don't know that for certain, so if I'm wrong, we're not a news outlet, even though we talk a lot about news.
Yep, we just say stuff and hope we're not lying.
And if we are, we stop becoming the person in charge of the company.
Yep.
Resident Evil 4 Remake.
I have no, as I said on the other podcast, I have no race in this horse.
I played through, so I've become a Resident Evil fan in like the last 2 years or so, year and a half. I had played 5 and 6 beforehand, and 5 was enjoyable in co-op. 6 is an experience in co-op. No, the gameplay is fun in 6. It's just a fucking abysmal story. Just fucking stupid. But then my buddy Snake told me to play through Resident Evil 1 and see whether I liked that. So I played the remake of that. Fucking loved it. It was my favorite game of 2020, I want to say, was when I played it. Maybe 2021. Resident Evil 2 Remake, also great. Possibly one of the best remakes I've ever played in terms of just like, it's just so beautiful to look at. And from what I've heard from Resident Evil fans, it like completely captures the spirit of the original. I haven't played the RE3 remake, but that one got a lot of flack. I own it, but I just haven't gone around to playing it. But that one got a lot of flack because it was smaller in scale than the original RE3 and using a lot of like assets from 2, so it was like fairly quickly made, clearly. Which that's a shame. So hopefully this is more in line with RE2, where it's like it's a true proper remake. From my understanding, was like one of the bigger Resident Evil. Well, obviously, like the franchise was moving in generations with new technology, so the original 4 was a bigger game. So I assume they're probably not going to half-ass it. It's also, to a lot of people, the most popular Resident Evil game of all time. Like it's a lot of people's favorite. So I don't think they are going to half-ass it, and I'm excited to play it. I would have been absolutely happy to play it in its original state because it's not that old. But since the remake's coming, I might just wait till the remake before playing RE4. Also, they announced that a VR version will be coming later down the line. So,
well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had much exposure to Resident Evil. I think I played 3 like years ago with my friend, but I really don't remember anything from it. And I've watched Tom play through Village. That was fun to watch, but I don't think I'd actually want to play it. It looked kind of boring for me. I was just more interested in the story, and so like actually just seeing it was a lot better.
Plot. You were interested in the plot.
Yeah, I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on most of the time, but it was.
But you liked.
It was interesting.
The plot.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what you're getting at.
Lady Nematresk is the plot.
Oh.
She's big and hot.
Oh right.
I was doing the internet meme where it's like I'm watching this for the plot and that's a hot person.
Oh right, yeah. No, I was actually more interested in the more disgusting ones, like the fisherman boss.
Oh, okay. I mean, you might like this then, because from my understanding, the fisherman boss in particular was like almost straight up a copy of a boss in RE4, and Village is very much reminiscent of RE4, is the word on the street that I've heard. So you might like RE4 then.
I think like the idea behind Resident Evil and like, you know, the zombification disease virus
bioweapons,
whatever. I think it's interesting. I may go back and watch through, you know, the stories and everything, but as I said, I'm not really too into the gameplay.
To be honest with you, I would say you're probably not going to get much out of the story in RE1 in particular. It's not to say it's a bad story, it's good, but I think so much of the joy of RE1, for me at least, was the gameplay. Because RE1, I have an aversion to horror games, and horror in general. I don't like jump scares. And I have an aversion to item management games, particularly horror item management games, after playing through Dead Space, and I basically just got soft-locked in the game, where I just didn't have enough ammo and health to get through an area, and like my last save where I could maybe try and fix my run was so long ago that I was like, I'm not going to do that. And so the idea of Resident Evil 1 was like really aversive to me, because that is horror, although horror, more like tense, and is very much item management. But what it ended up being, which I don't think Dead Space had, is you have these safe rooms around the mansion and its grounds, which have save rooms. So it's got a little typewriter that you click, clack, clack, and you save your game, and an item box. And if you're playing it on most difficulties, I think the hardest difficulty, it doesn't do this, but on most difficulties, the item box is like a shadow dimension where you can access the same items in any item box in any save room. So the idea is you start to plan your run. You're like, okay, I know what enemies are from here to here. I need to collect this item at some point, so I need to go via a save room to get to here to use the item for this puzzle, because I've now worked out what goes where. How do I do this in a way that's going to use the least amount of ammo and the least amount of health if I get into trouble? And that kind of gameplay method of going, okay, I'm going to do this, and planning your route was so satisfying and so much fun. And then on top of that, there's a decent story. Particularly, the actual story is fine, but the world building of like reading journal notes and that sort of stuff, if you're into that, it's got one of the best stories told in journals ever in a video game, where it was kind of a little bit heartbreaking. So yeah, like that was really, really fun. And I feel like that element might be a bit lost if you're just watching someone else play it, particularly if they don't read all of the notes. But yeah, you might enjoy it still. But like if you,
I mean, there's every possibility I just won't go back and watch through it anyway. So
yeah, but you know, RE1 remake, it's usually fairly cheap. If you ever wanted to give it a go, it's such a good game, but it is old and a bit clunky. So, but yeah, I'm excited for RE4 remake, but I need to get on RE3 remake at some point. But I don't know if I'll play through 7 and 8 because FPS is more scary. I'm in my eyes rather than over my shoulder. The monsters are closer, harder to hide from them.
I told a lie, actually. There is one other game that I was exposed to. It was Resident Evil Biohazard. It was like one of the first couple of games I got on PSVR. And I took it round Tom's at the time.
7, right. Sorry, I was trying to work out what you meant by Resident Evil Biohazard, because all of them are Resident Evil and Biohazard. Because in Japan they're called Biohazard, but then I remembered 7 is called Biohazard. As a subtitle. Right. That really confused me for a moment, but sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever known it as Biohazard. Yeah, and like I was just walking around like the house, and then it was time to go up the stairs, and I just went, nope. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going up into the attic. That's a big no from me. And Tom was like, oh, you're such a pussy, blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, then you do it. And he stuck it on, and he was just like, maybe not.
But yeah, it's a good time. Not VR though. I not. Maybe one day for the channel we'll do horror VR, but not anytime soon. And when we do it, it will be Tommy.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe that'll be like this things that we'll start doing as punishments when people fail challenges is horror VR.
I bet if we got Callum to do it, that motherfucker wouldn't even flinch. Like he wouldn't have any reaction whatsoever.
Or he would flinch, and his flinch would be to punch something, because he's so big, he would end up punching one of us sat on the sofa at the edge of the room.
Probably. He just stomps on us.
We love that boy though.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Rogue Trader, because I haven't watched the trailer, but I did go and see my brother this weekend, and he talked to me about what Rogue Trader as a board game, or as a tabletop role-playing game is, but I don't know what the video game is.
Okay, so I was actually more interested just in the animation. Honestly, this is the real reason that I posted it, because I'm just a sucker for if they put like animation in a game and then it cuts gameplay and everything. I'm just like, wow, this is just pretty cool.
You like video games with animation in them, do you?
Yes.
You prefer if a video game's not just a static picture?
I mean, like actual like cartoon.
Okay,
good. Just like not like gameplay animations.
Okay.
But I like the idea of this. I don't actually understand really what the gameplay is, but basically the narrator in the trailer, who is also like
he's Troy Baker.
He does a very good womanly voice.
Okay.
I must say. But yeah, like the little cartoon that they have like interspersed with the gameplay and everything, it like shows the lady that's narrating, and it's basically like her passing on her empire or
her ship
role to an heir. And obviously you are the heir, and she says like, oh, you know, are you gonna be like a tyrant? Are you gonna be like just a trader? Are you gonna be, you know, this, that, and the other? And it makes it sound as if like the way that you play actually changes how characters perceive you and everything, or you know, stuff like that. I love games that are like that. And as I said, I don't know if that is correct or not, but I like the sound of that, and so I'm gonna wait for it to come out, because Warhammer games have such a mixed reaction every single time they like release a new one. Like I don't even know if I could name a Warhammer game that doesn't just have mixed on Steam, except maybe like Dawn of War.
Oh yeah, the Dawn of War is probably fairly well received, but Space Marine might be positive on Steam.
Maybe Space Marine as well.
Yeah, it was pretty well received, but then Steam might not say so.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for it to come out, and I'm gonna have a look at a few reviews. Although I probably won't pay too much close attention to them because I feel like Warhammer games are one of those fandoms again where like most of the fans are just never happy and they just pick up on like really small issues that I just wouldn't have at all.
Space Marine is very positive on Steam.
Oh, nice. Okay, barring Space Marine, I guess.
And probably Dawn of Wars. I'm not going to bother looking them up, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a couple of Dawn of Wars though that didn't get very well received.
Maybe some of the like expansions or spin-offs or whatever, but the main, particularly Dawn of War 2, I remember being very well received when it came out.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think Dawn of War 3 had mixed reactions.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna wait for it to come out, look at some reviews, take them with a grain of salt. But I very much like the sound of it. I love games like that. The actual gameplay to me looks somewhat like a bit like Wastelander, I think. Wasteland. Can't remember what it's called.
Wasteland.
Kind of like the like isometric type gameplay. Do
you know what the actual premise of what Rogue Trader is in the Warhammer universe?
I have no idea.
So my brother explained it to me. I'm not going to get all the terminology correct. My brother is a massive Warhammer 40k nerd. He has a channel, which I'm pretty sure our channel recommends as one of the recommended channels, because I might have set it up that way without talking to anyone. I just did it. I'm a fucking tyrant. They have a channel called Bottom of the Barrel where they do Warhammer stuff. I would highly recommend it if you're into Warhammer 40k. But Rogue Trader, he explained it as like these merchants or smugglers and such like who fly these ships that are like 800 crew, like they're massive, but they like fly them. I want to say it was like in between realities or on the void winds or chaos winds or some, you know, dark metal fantasy shit that Warhammer has. Yeah. Apologies if you're a Warhammer 40k fan and I'm butchering all of it. It sounded cool, but I can't remember what word he used. And they basically like have this like psychic mage navigator who has to like try and connect to the void or whatever and work out how to navigate it. Meanwhile, demons will just be trying to break down the ship's barriers and break their way in.
Oh.
So the closest I could kind of relate to in terms that we definitely understand is D&D and the like elemental plane, that sort of concept, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But like Warhammer-fied.
Mm.
But yeah, it sounded like a really cool concept. Apparently there's a tabletop role-playing game called Rogue Trader where you play as rogue traders. So
did he mention this game at all?
Well, I said, oh, hadn't they just announced a video game with that? And he said, yeah, they had, but he didn't expand on it beyond that. So I'll watch the trailer, but I like the sound of that as a premise for a concept of something. So if the video game is loosely that sounds really fucking cool. Without
I mean,
the trailer, so.
From the actual gameplay, I wouldn't have been able to say that it looks like you go to different like planets and everything, and like I don't really know, but
fair enough.
It looks good. I mean, like I still would like to play Demon Hunters that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that looks pretty good. Again, that got mixed reviews. It was pretty good to begin with, and then a couple of days later I looked again and it was like, oh, it's mixed now, and I'm like, fucking what just happened? That's crazy. But again, I was looking at the comments and it just seems like such small gripes that a casual player,
you know,
I just don't think I would be
Henry Cavill he goes on Instagram Live. He's like, "Fuck this game. They got this one bit of lore wrong," and then all of his fans just like review it on Steam. I'm kidding, Henry Cavill. You seem like an absolutely lovely man, and I don't imagine you'd ever use your fan base in that sort of way, even if you did have a gripe with a video game. But still, funny concept.
It would be. But yeah, I think it looks good. That's my take.
Cool. Media did you have consumed in the week?
Very nice.
I didn't fuck it up that time, but I put a little bit of shmeem on it instead.
Bit of shmushmu.
Yeah. What
So,
what
who
media
wants to
you
go?
consumed?
Oh boy, I've consumed a lot of media.
What's the plot of Willow, bud?
Even, I mean, I think I know what it is, but I was very confused at the end of the film, at least. So
Okay.
basically,
Real quick context, we'll probably talk about it in a little bit more, or maybe we'll talk about it during this section, because it's not really media, but it's a thing we did. We all met up this weekend, and one of the things we did was watch Willow, so that's the context for why I asked.
So there's like a baby princess,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's like,
Actually, I'm not sure she's a princess. She's just a baby.
No, she's a princess.
Pretty sure she's not a princess.
She is.
Pretty sure she's a princess by the end of the film. I'm pretty sure she's not a princess at the beginning of the film.
Are you sure?
I'm like 90. I'm 90% sure she's not a princess.
I swear, like, Mad Martigan was like, who even is she? And Willow was like, she's a princess.
Well, she's got a destiny, but I don't think she's a princess.
I swear she's a princess.
Pretty sure she's not.
Google it, because...
I'm Googling it.
Unless I just, like, mix that up with something else I've watched recently, but I
mean, we did watch The Princess
certain.
Bride, so maybe you just, like, threw the word princess in randomly.
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
No, she's not a princess, my dude.
What the fuck? What else have I watched recently that could have...
Oh, wait, hold on. What the fuck? Okay, so in the plot, it doesn't call her a princess. But in the description of her, as, like, the actors who portrayed her, it says she is a princess. But she is a princess at the end of the film, so I don't know whether they're just getting that bit wrong.
I swear she was a princess the whole time, because I specifically remember Willow saying that she was a princess.
Alright, here's her little character plot. Fearful of a prophecy that a girl would be born who would bring about her downfall, the evil queen Bavmorda of Nokmar imprisoned all pregnant women in her realm. Allura was born in prison and identified as the prophesied one by a birthmark on her arm. Bavmorda wanted to kill her at birth, but her mother convinced a midwife to smuggle her out, but her mother and midwife died to keep her safe. No mention of her being a princess there. After her...
So, but like, why would she then become a princess at the end?
Because a princess adopts her at the end.
Oh, what, Mad Martigan and the Bavmorda's daughter?
Yeah, Sorsha.
Oh, okay.
So she is a princess at the end of the film. And it does say in-universe information, occupation, princess, but I don't think she is a princess. I think this is all a load of bullshit, is what I think.
Well, she becomes a princess then, but yeah. So she's like going down a stream, and then Willow and his kids find her, and Willow's like, nah, we can't be fucked with this, let's just push her down the stream again. But then someone comes and he's like, oh fuck, I guess we better take the kid. And then like he was trying to find someone to basically pawn her off on, because he was about to try and go and become a mage under some like local wizard or something. But then stuff happens and he like gives the baby to Mad Martigan, who is Val Kilmer's character, who is like the best swordsman, and he's in a cage and shit, and he's like, yeah, fucking give me the baby, I'll handle it. And for some reason Willow does. He just trusts him very quickly after Mad Martigan.
It's not that quickly. They sleep on it, and then they get bullied by some soldiers, and then they decide to trust him.
Yeah, for some reason.
Like in universe, there's a couple of hours at least that pass.
Yeah, but like we don't really get to see much in between those times, you know. There's a very quick cut between "give me the baby, you can trust me" to the bullying, and then Willow deciding, oh yeah, I mean, despite this guy being in a cage for whatever reason, these soldiers appear to not like him, so yeah, that's obviously a good reason to trust him.
The reason why she's called a princess on Wikipedia and such like is because the character goes on to appear in other novels that are like sequels to Willow, and she's a princess in them. So she is a princess in the universe, but she isn't during the chunk of the first film.
Oh,
I've done my
okay.
digging.
All right, well, cool. So yeah, like Mad Martigan goes off and does some dumb shit on a like chariot or whatever, and or a carriage.
You missed the best part of the film.
Oh yeah, and then some like tiny guy said, "I stole the baby."
No, for more context, Willow and his mate then are returning to the village, and the mate's like, "Oh, what about Laura? She might be in danger. Why are we trusting this Mad Martigan guy?" And Willow's like, "Listen, there's no way that Laura's in trouble. She's the safest she could ever be. There's nothing's gonna happen to her." And then suddenly there's just a tiny guy flying a fucking falcon, carrying Alora in a bundle, going, "I stole the baby! I stole the baby!" And it's the best fucking cut I was going to say Star Wars history, in film history. It is the best fucking cut ever.
Yeah, so that happens, and that's amazing. And then Mad Martigan's like doing some crazy shit on a carriage because he's like helping to get the baby back or something. Or though before that he like betrayed him.
We don't know if he betrayed them or not.
It was unclear, but I mean he basically brought them to him, which is kind of a dick move.
No, that didn't happen. You're getting two different scenes confused. Before the chariot race is when he's dressing up as a woman and trying to seduce another woman in a bar.
Oh, right. Oh,
and then,
yeah,
and then he and Willow and the baby get caught by the evil people, and then they escape on a chariot.
Oh yeah, because like he was getting like
he was cheating on someone with
and then the girl's husband came in and he was like, "You want to breed?"
Yes, he did say that. And then later, what you're thinking of is that they seem to go their separate ways, and Willow like rows his boat to an island or whatever, and then the evil people show up with Mad Martigan, and Mad Martigan has clearly been like beaten and whipped, but it is maybe hinted at that he might have actually sold them out, and then they did that anyways, or maybe they torched it out of him. Who knows? It's not actually explicitly stated in the film.
Yeah. Well, either way, that happens. And then there's kind of a dip in my memory.
You've remembered much more than Tommy, who fell asleep about 15 minutes into the film.
I remember. Yeah, I remember the ending at least, because I remember just thinking, "What the fuck just happened?"
To fill in some gaps, there are the prisoners of the evil people. The evil people are taking them back to the Queen. In a snowy mountain, they managed to escape because they found a sorceress, but she's stuck as like a muskrat.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Willow tries to turn her into a goat. Well, into a human, but turns her into a goat. Or does she turn him into a bird first? Turns him into a bird first, doesn't he?
Yeah, a bird, and then a goat, and then human.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything.
She briefly turns into a tiger, like in the transformation into a human. She like for a second is a tiger, but so she's in bird form. She helps them escape from the prison camp, but I can't quite remember how. But somehow Mad Martigan like inhales a love dust potion thing, falls in love with Saoirse, tries to like defy state his love for her, and then everyone catches them, they run away, and they like ride a shield or a toboggan or something down the mountain, and then they come across the rebels, and then the evil guards show up again, but then they capture Saoirse and escape again, and then Saoirse escapes again, and then they go to the castle where they're supposed to meet help, but the help's not there, and then there are trolls there instead, and then Willow tries to transform one of the trolls, but then transforms it into like this grotesque monster thing. And then
straight up fucking kills it because like he just turns it into like this gooey, disgusting puddle.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, cool."
And Mad Martigan's just like being a fucking dashing hero with his swords and his fancy new armor he just found, and he's like doing some Rambo shit with some crossbow traps. And then Saoirse sees this during the battle and goes, "Damn, that dude's fucking hot." and then just decides to betray her army and fall in
Yeah.
love with him. And then they make it to the evil. But then in the horror of it all, the baby Allura gets kidnapped and taken to the queen. So they had to go and like siege the queen's castle. But then the queen turns all of the army into pigs except for Willow and the sorceress, who do a protective spell. Willow turns the sorceress back into a human, and that's probably when your memory comes back in.
Yeah. So the sorceress and the evil queen, they have some like sick Saruman versus Gandalf fight, like throwing each other around with like wands and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Willow gets the baby, and he's like, you need the baby, so I'm gonna send her away or something.
So,
and then he goes, and then she goes. And then the queen kills herself for some reason.
Is that why you're confused?
Yeah.
Okay, so right at the beginning of the film, Willow establishes that he's trying to become the sorcerer of the village, the sorcerer's apprentice or whatever, and the way he's trying to demonstrate his skills is by doing magic tricks, including making things disappear. It's just like simple, like sleight of hand. It's not actual magic. So then...
No. I'm not confused about him, like, doing the trick.
Okay.
I'm confused about why the queen just suddenly, like...
I think she, like, her spell or something hits some equipment. I can't quite remember, but yeah, she fucks up and kills herself.
Yeah. See, I didn't see her do anything like that, so I just thought she straight up committed suicide or something.
She definitely did something and something went wrong, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah. So I was just left confused, like, okay, so she thought the baby was gone, so she was just like, all right, bye, and just like just obliterated herself.
But yeah, no, it's a good film. It was a lot of fun. It's just a wacky, weird fantasy film.
Oh, it was so fucking ridiculous, honestly.
Alex was high the entire time and kept on saying it was a Lord of the Rings ripoff, and
it wasn't a Lord of the Rings ripoff. I still feel like it was just a parody of it.
I don't think you know what the word parody means.
I do.
It was a fantasy film, my dude.
You can have tropes, but then actually making the characters like do the same things and even maybe look a little bit like the characters. To me, that is a parody.
And what was the characteristic? What was the similarities in appearance?
There were short people.
Can you think of any fantasy characters that are short?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hobbits.
Mm-hmm.
Dwarves.
Mm-hmm. What about D&D related?
Gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
Dwarves.
You already did that one, bud.
Oh. Goblins. Kobolds. I don't know.
Halflings?
Oh, halflings, yeah.
Which are not created by Dungeons and Dragons and have appeared in numerous fantasy books, from including the time of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but it was the plot as well.
The plot of following the hero's journey.
Or not. I don't know how I could make you understand it from my point of view, but I at least think
because your point of view is wrong.
No, I don't think it is. I think it was Lord of the Rings, but just way more ridiculous.
Okay.
The only creature I didn't think of was Gollum.
I think it was fantasy. That's what I think.
That's fine. We can agree to disagree.
What else did you consume in this week, bud?
Also watched Princess Bride again, but I've seen that so many fucking times now I can't be bothered to talk about it.
We did expose Tommy to it though, and Tommy will have to come on the podcast at some point and talk about it. Also, apologies about the thing that just popped up on the screen. We are not sponsored by CC Cleaner, and its pop-ups won't fuck off.
I watched the other day. I can't remember if I watched it before the last podcast and just forgot about it again, but I watched The Bubble. I think we actually talked about it on the podcast when it was like when the trailer came out, and it's that film where it's got like is his name Keegan Michael Key?
Sure.
Yeah. And like
From
Karen
Karen Peel,
Gillan.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Karen Gillan, Pedro Pascal, and a few
Oh, I know
others.
exactly what film you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was super
exactly.
hyped for that. That came out?
Yeah. I was surprised as well. It's on streaming services already.
Where?
Netflix, I think.
Damn, I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Very very funny. Took a couple of twists and turns that just left me like, holy shit! Like compared to like the way the movie begins and everything, there are just a couple of moments of it where I'm like, that's brutal.
But how did
It's
its
very good.
twists and turns compare to I Stole the Baby?
I mean, not as funny as that,
As
but
surprising as that?
yes, I would say so.
Okay.
There's one moment in particular that I found very surprising, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that's
I
just
I think
crazy.
I think I know why Callum's so dead inside now is because nothing's ever gonna compare to I Stole the Baby.
Or you want to
I'm
breed?
just gonna be chasing that high for the rest of my life now. It's never gonna happen.
But yeah, it was very fun. I enjoyed it. And then I watched. Did I talk about Guardians of Justice on the last podcast? I think I did, didn't I?
You've definitely talked about it to me, but I don't know if it was on the last podcast or not. I feel like it might have been.
I'll just give a quick overview then. It's basically like it's a superhero show, but it is more of a, again, to use the word, parody of like DC characters. So you got like different versions of Batman, the Flash, Superman, etc. But it's also like a murder mystery, thriller, dark comedy mixed in with animation as well. It's really good. A lot of the dialogue is kind of shit, and the acting isn't amazing, but like it really works for the vibe. Um, it's such a strange show, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, so that's great. And then final thing, I've watched the first episode of The Boys.
I have not.
It's a good fucking start, I must admit. Very I was very uncomfortable with in the first 5-10 minutes. So yeah, off with a bang. Excited to watch more. That's me.
Cool. You've got some things, but it's fine. We'll go through them in a moment. What have I consumed in the past week? I've consumed copious amounts of miles, including the M4 and the Prince of Wales Bridge, and your mum's Maltesers, as I discovered on the drive back.
Yep.
Sorry to Alex's mum. Alex presented them to us as things that he had bought for us, not as
No, I
things he'd stolen
didn't.
from his mum.
I brought them out and immediately said I think my mum went a little overboard on the snacks.
Okay, which makes it sound like they're there for us, not.
Well, yeah, I thought they were there for us. I literally just pulled everything out the cupboard and I was like, this is ours.
But what else have I consumed? Jesus. Well, we consumed together, along with Willow and the Princess Bride, the games Exploding Kittens.
Oh, yep.
It was a lot of fun. How to explain Exploding Kittens? It's just a bizarre card game.
It was probably made even more bizarre by the fact that I bought the NSFW version of it. So
yeah. I don't really know how to explain beyond that, but maybe we'll play it on the channel at some point because it is on Tabletop Sim. The other one, which I'd absolutely love to play on the channel at some point, particularly if we were doing stupid voices and stuff, was it called Escape from the Dark Sector? Was that its name?
I think it was just called Space Sector.
It's definitely something Dark Sector, I feel like.
Google time.
Yo, there is actually an official soundtrack for Escape from the Dark Sector. It's called Escape the Dark Sector.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is a sci-fi adventure game. It had like big alien vibes. It's a little board game, and it was a lot of fun. We played it like 3 times, I want to say, maybe 4.
Yeah, 4 I think sounds about right. We definitely played twice the first time we got it out, and I'm pretty sure we
played it twice.
The second time.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. But yeah, no, it was just a really fun, very atmospheric game, and yes, it does have an official soundtrack which you can buy on tape or vinyl.
I'm pretty sure there were like a couple of other versions of it as well, like Castle.
Escape the Dark Castle is a fancy variant, and looking at it, there's also some mission packs for Escape the Dark Sector as well. So if we wanted to expand on it, we could potentially. But yeah,
I'd love to play that one.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's on Tabletop Sim. If it is, we might play on Tabletop Sim one day. If it's not on Tabletop Sim, maybe next time we play it, we set up some cameras and some microphones and we do like an actual production little thing. Don't know how
we make it on Tabletop Sim.
Could look into that. I mean, I imagine it's just like JPEGs on card assets, right? So
probably.
If we did that, we wouldn't be allowed to officially release the mod, though, probably, because it's probably someone's thing. But we could do it just for our own fun, because we own the game now. So, yeah. It was a good time.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We need to do it again.
Yeah, and just in general, the weekend was thoroughly enjoyable. I'm a little bit sad that I didn't get to experience what sounds like an awesome experience at axe throwing place where people were just bullying you guys, like the staff were just bullying you guys, but I was just having a lovely time with my brother instead.
The axe throwing instructor asked for our names, like cool nicknames, and Tom wanted to be called Tommy the Terrible. So he went to me next, and I said Alexander the Great, and he said that's a fucking awful name. You're not allowed that. Come up with a better one right now, or I'm just going to call you B-Tech. And I just went, B-Tech it is. So for the rest of it, I was called B-Tech, and every time I went up, they all chanted B-Tech, B-Tech.
And what was it about the root beer situation?
Yeah, so Callum went up to get a drink, and I heard like laughing, and he comes back and he goes, they're just bullying me because I ordered a root beer. They were like, that's a fucking awful drink, choose something else, like we won't serve that to you. And and he was like, I just want a root beer. So anyway, he comes back with his root beer, and after hearing this, I get up and I go, I'm just going to buy a root beer just to spite them. And I did. I went up and I was like, oh, I'll have a root beer, please. And they go, no, you're fucking not. You're an asshole. And they just started like ripping into me for liking root beer. And I was like, just want a root beer.
I agree, though. Root beer's fucking trash.
It's amazing.
And then I have consumed. You've seen Stranger Things 4 now, haven't you?
I haven't.
What the fuck? Yeah.
I haven't had the time.
Bullshit.
And now The Boys takes priority. And then next week, What We Do in the Shadows Season 4 comes out, so that will take priority.
Alex? Bullshit. Plays Limp Bizkit. Walks away.
Chaos.
Fine, we won't talk about Stranger Things 4. I just want to talk about it in more detail, but fuckhead here hasn't watched it, and Samo's not on the podcast this week. But it's still good. It's still in my mind, rent-free. And then SWTOR. Got back into SWTOR.
Oh.
Enjoying it.
Keep meaning to.
Still enjoying it. That's it. I've talked about SWTOR a bunch already on the podcast before. It's good time. It's mainly playing.
I think I only have like 3 classes left before I become a prestige player or whatever it's called. So I really need to get back into that because I want that little symbol by my name. Legendary player, that's what it's called.
Cool. Do we want to talk about Kenobi? Or we could maybe save up Kenobi for next week, and then we can talk about 2 episodes in one, like we did with the first lot, because they released 2 episodes in one go. Or do we want to talk about it now? Because we're fairly short, but I don't want to like go all the way to 3 hours at the same time. So
I reckon we might as well just save it, and then maybe we get Samu on again or something, and
but
see his opinions. I will just say I will go into it in more detail next time. I did enjoy it, but there were still times where I was just a bit left confused by some of the editing choices they made.
are we talking about in the quarry?
Yes.
I think it's supposed to be confusing because he's running and scared. The person who is running and scared.
I also was confused about how the tunnel
Yes,
worked.
I mean that's fair. Cool.
Yeah, but
All right. Last little thing that I want to talk about then, and then we might be done, is I hopped on. I like clicked YouTube Home after having like clicked on one of the videos that we talked about, and the Sandman Netflix adaptation has finally got a release date. I'm not going to watch the trailer just yet because it's like a minute and 40 seconds. I'm not going to just like mute and deafen myself while watching on the podcast, but they have released a date announcement trailer, and it's coming August 5th. So soon.
I gotta say, I haven't been that interested in it. I've always just told myself I'll probably watch that when it comes out, but it's one of those things where I'm like, well, I haven't really read anything about it. All I know from it is Lucifer, and that's, you know, like the Lucifer show is nothing like the actual books. So I'm just gonna kind of wait and see. I don't really want to watch any trailers for it. Pretty much all I know is that fuck, what's her name? It's not Agatha Christie. The lady that played Sir. I can't.
Yeah, I know who. Gwendolyn Christie.
Gwendolyn Christie. Yeah. All I know is that she's playing Lucifer. That's literally all I know about it, and I'm just gonna wait for it to come out to see it for myself. I think.
So all I'll say, and I've thought this for a while, but I'm watching the trailer on mute just to see the visuals because the graphic novel The Sandman is fucking beautiful to look at. Oh shit, is that who they've got? Is that who they've got playing the fucking Corinthian? Okay, I'm down for that. If that's who I thought it was. But I do think my one criticism is that Tom Sturridge as the Sandman, he's a good actor, and I think he's probably a good choice for the character. But Morpheus like looks so like creepy in the comics, but also like creepy but beautiful, and like his eyes are described as like literally being like starlight, and they're just like black abyss, but like they're beautiful to look at, sort of thing. And it's I think it's ultimately it's a Batman with white eyes scenario. He has normal human eyes in everything we've seen so far from the trailers. I'm like, I get it because he's gonna act with his eyes, but also it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame he doesn't look as like, he just looks like a normal guy because of it, rather than this like weird eldritch god human thing. But I'm just quickly checking over who I thought was playing the Corinthian is playing the Corinthian. But even if it ends up being mid, I still have the audiobook, which is fucking awesome. So yeah, I'm not seeing the Corinthian in the cast list. I'm going to go to IMDb. Who I'm thinking it is possibly I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played the villain in Arrow season 2 that wasn't Deathstroke. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Damien Dark.
No, that's season 3.
Oh, that wasn't Deathstroke.
Yeah, he like wore kind of almost Scarecrow-esque mask, but I can't remember what the character's name is either. So
no, I can't remember.
Oh, it's not him, anyways. It's Boyd Holbrook is playing the Corinthian, who played the villain in Logan. He's also a phenomenal actor, so I'm down with that. But that's not who I thought it was from the trailer, because you see like the back of his head and like his nose. So, but yeah, no, I think it looks decent. It's such a like visual feast to look at as a graphic novel that I am slightly worried about how it's going to be adapted to screen. But yeah.
Well, hopefully, if Neil Gaiman is consulting, it should be pretty good.
Yeah, he's executive producing, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, and as I say, even if it doesn't end up being anywhere near as good as the graphic novel, you have the graphic novel, and there is also an amazing adaptation that is the audiobook, where I get that James McAvoy doesn't look the part of Morpheus, but boy, as a voice, James McAvoy as Morpheus is just to die for.
I still think James McAvoy is so underrated.
Oh,
I know
he
been
is so
like,
phenomenal as an actor. Like,
yeah, like incredible. Like, still one of my best performances is Arthur Christmas.
I've no
Couldn't I could not, like, genuinely, he sounds so different in that. It's incredible. It's such a great film. It's my favorite Christmas movie of all time.
his portrayal of Morpheus is great, because when you think of like godlike, you think like, I don't know, something like booming, or like just in some way like really, really just like out there and powerful. But he almost talks in this like soft whisper, but it's not gravelly, it's not whispery, but it's just very quiet and gentle. And but then they like do this like little bit of an effect on it as well, where it's like just ever so slight almost echo sometimes when he talks, and it's just like, and then the way he delivers his lines is just great. And it's just, yeah, you think the God of Dreams, yeah, he would sound like that. He would sound like a talking lullaby. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a good time. All right, I think that's everything. We did a short one. It's still 2 hours, but you know, not
That's
3 hours.
pretty good going for us, though.
So the Batman.
So, Fupa.
So Fupa. I still haven't uploaded that. Also, don't tell the boss, but I discovered yesterday that I never published last week's episode, so I published it yesterday.
Oh.
It was all good. It was unlisted, just not public. And I went, oh, okay. And then I published it, but it's got a decent number of views, so it's fine. It's just gonna make our update dates look weird as fuck. But
Oh well.
hey, forget about it. Thank you for watching the Higgledy Piggledy podcast.
The Higgledy podcast.
Thank you for watching the Higgledy Piggledy podcast.
The Higgledy Piggledy podcast.
That's more appropriate.
Oh damn, that's new.
No, it's not.
I mean, like, new for the show. I'm pretty sure we've never had that on here before.
If you enjoyed this video, like, follow, and subscribe.
Can they favorite?
I don't know what favorite means, man. I just say what every other YouTuber says.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure liking is like favoriting, isn't it? Because it sticks it in a playlist of like videos.
I don't fucking...
We want to say like, comment, and subscribe. We need the comments for more engagement. We want to get engaged. Holy matrimony.
We'll bring back the NFT guy real quick. I say, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, I agree. I think if we do play Escape the Dark Sector on the channel, we need to turn it down a little bit.
No, I'm gonna talk like this for the whole fucking game. So,
I mean,
sorry.
it's better than what we were doing, at least.
Don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Oh yeah, also,
Are we going to show that because of Samo?
It's fine.
Okay.
We don't need to keep them hidden from him. He's getting his own surprise. I'm gonna tell him he's getting it.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah.
I made them the stuff from the Star Wars campaign that we play over on my channel. There's gonna be a video coming soon.
Yeah. Well, we'll show the helmets next time, I guess, when we can try and grab Tom and Callum's rifle as well.
Yeah.
But they're very sick, very ill, as the kids say.
Actually, they're all like perfectly clean. I didn't cough into any of them.
Yeah, I did. All of them.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Goodbye.